Going on, everyone? Welcome, Rabid here, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to set up your very own Bitcoin node as well as point a miner to it. That way you can solo to your own node. Now, why would you want to do such a thing? Well, one, it helps out with network decentralization. Running a node throughout the world means if half the world goes out, there are still nodes available. If yours is the only node running because everything else got wiped out, Bitcoin will continue to run as well. So that's where decentralization comes in. Now, the second thing is this will save you a lot of money. So here are popular Bitcoin nodes that are being sold today. From Apollo here, these are their nodes, but look at the prices on them. $1,999. So $2,000 here. $1,100 or $800, where you can simply pick up, or you already have a PC at home, you can run this on your normal PC. It is recommended to have a 2 terabyte hard drive. You can get away currently with 1 terabyte, but for long term, because the Bitcoin blockchain is over 800 some gigabytes for years and years, as it grows, as time goes by with all those transactions and blocks being found, it gets larger and larger. So 2 terabytes is recommended to kind of future proof it for quite some time here. So also an 8-core 16-thread CPU is also recommended. So it all depends what you kind of got here. I'm going to be using my node box, but you can pick one of those up for $200 USD and then do all the stuff for yourself. So the first thing you are going to need to do, you're going to have to come into Umbrella here. I always want to call it Umbrella. It looks like an umbrella. It reminds me of that TV show, The Umbrella Company or whatever it's called there on Netflix. But anyway, you come into here, Umbrella here, scroll on down, and we can see run your own Bitcoin node is right here. But first we got to download and install this into our node box, and then it gets pretty simple. And I do want to thank Fully Electric for pointing these steps out to me so that I can showcase this to you guys and make your life much easier. So here is the download page, and I will link this as well as everything else down in the description. But here you can see for the operating system, minimum requirements is a dual core 64-bit Intel or AMD processor, quad core or higher. For the Bitcoin node, again, 8 cores is recommended. For RAM, 4 gigabytes, 8 gigabyte plus recommended. For the Bitcoin node, again, I would go with at least 8 gigabyte. I would go higher. And then for storage, we're going to want 2 terabytes, but you can get away short term with 1 terabyte. So once you do that, you're going to need to download it right here. So here's Umbrella OS, and it is simply a download that looks like it's about 2.7 gigabytes in size. So you're going to need a USB stick, at least 4 gigabytes in size here, and then Balana Etcher. So you're going to have to flash this onto your USB drive to install this to your node box once you do get that downloaded. All right, so our file is done downloading. So now we got to flash our USB drive. So we're just going to click on flash from file here. I'm going to go into my downloads, Umbrellas here, open that. Go to select my target. So I am looking for that USB drive. Mine is 15.6 gigabytes. Click on that, select it, and hit the flash button. So now we hit the yes button once it okays it. Now we just sit here as it flashes it to our drive, which we'll be using to boot up our node box and install the operating system. All right, so depending what you are using, if it doesn't boot up for you, you're gonna have to go into your BIOS, adjust the boot settings so it does boot up from the USB, which I just switched to right here. Let me just hit the down. There we go. So we're going into there, hit F10, I think is save on this thing. No, it's not. So I got to figure out, oh, save and exit. I'll just go to the right. Save and exit, yes. Yes, and then it should boot up and begin the installation process. All right, so it is reading it. Now it's going to ask you a couple questions here. Installing Umbrella OS will wipe your entire storage device. I know I'm butchering the operating system totally, and I apologize for that. But here I'm going to select number 2, which is my main hard drive. I do only have 953 gigabytes, so I am cutting it close. I couldn't find any boxes that have 2 terabyte in storage, so I am going with only 1, but I am going to pick number 2 here, hit enter. Now it's installing it, so it's going to do its whole installing process here. It's going to ask a couple more questions, and then if everything does successfully install, we should boot up into the OS. All right, that stage is done. It now says press any key to shut it down, so hit a button and it will turn it down. Make sure you do remove that USB drive before turning your mini PC back on. All right, so it was asking for a login here, and it looks like the default username and password is Umbrel, UMBREL for both the username and the password. So I am into the terminal operation here now. If I actually come into my web browser and you go to umbrel.local, you will get your onboarding create account type of thing here. And this is where you're going to create your actual account. All right, so I'm all logged in now and I want to install my first app. For the Bitcoiner, that's what we want here. We can do a Bitcoin node, a Lightning node, a Mempool, all sorts of crazy cool stuff for crypto mining. In this case, we're going to start with our Bitcoin node. So I'm going to click on that and I'm going to hit the install button. Now it's installing. Just wait for it to download and install that node. And just reading down here, I do want to point out, as some people have been asking me, get your Lightning network and stuff set up. It looks like if you are running the Lightning node app connected to your Bitcoin node app, which is what we're installing right now, you can link the two together and run the Lightning node with your Bitcoin node for the validations and stuff. So that's another pretty nifty trick there. All right, so it does say it's all done. So we're going to hit the open button right here. And now I believe it's going to start downloading and syncing up the blockchain. So now you can see synchronized 0%. This is going to take me, it could take me a week or two, maybe longer. I'm not sure. I do have crappy internet. So this part will vary on your internet speed on how long it's going to take, because you do have to download the entire Bitcoin blockchain. That's why you need a pretty big hard drive. We're going to be downloading over 800 gigabytes worth of data until this thing is finally up and running. All right, so now I just backed out, and if you ever want to go back into the node directly, simply click on this and it'll load it up and give you all the information on your sync process and connections and so far. And as you can see, we are beginning, we're getting some blocks and stuff here. We're syncing it. And again, this is going to take me quite a bit of time, and it will depending on your internet speed. So now we're going to go back here. We got to come back in here and we got to search up public pool. So we do need to add the pool part, because you cannot just mine directly to the node. We need like a stratum or our own type of mining pool that will connect to the node, and that's what we're going to connect to in order to mine to our node. So now we got to find public pool here. So I just want to go public pool. There we go, public pool. So hopefully this isn't some weird game. Run your own Bitcoin solo mining pool with no fees. Pool together any and all mining hardware. So you guys can mine on this as well, but I'm not going to do that because then I'd have to open up all my ports to get outside connections. I'm only running this on my local network. So we're going to install this, and this will be our pool that grants us access. So public pool requires these apps. We already got that. Install public pool. And now it's going to install our pool software. And then all we got to do is pretty much wait for the node to sync up and then point our rigs to our actual pool, and we're good to go. All right, so that is now done installing. So I'm simply going to open that up, and here is our mining pool per se. So here we can see Stratum. This is what I'm going to connect to for my mining rigs, stratum.tcp, umbrella.local with your colon here, and our port is 2018. Username will be our Bitcoin wallet address, followed by your worker name. Password X. I don't know if we'll need it or not. We'll find out when I get going. I won't be able to connect my miner. I could try connecting it actually, but I won't be doing anything worthwhile because you have to wait for our node to be fully in sync. But now we just got to wait for that and then connect to it. And we'll have all our stats here in terms of hash rate and everything going on. Here's some donate to the public pools and stuff if you want down there. So you can scan that and help them out, because this software is very fast and easy to use. As you've seen so far, pretty much anybody can run their own node. Very, very easy, and save yourself a lot of money over purchasing something like one of those future bits. Now, while I'm waiting for it to sync up, I'm going to wait and see how much room I have left on my drive. Hopefully it all fits in there, but I may or may not run the mempool. If I have enough room, I'm definitely going to run it here, but you can also run your own mempool and check all the blocks and see everything that's happening on the Bitcoin network as well. So you can run the entire infrastructure right from your house, which is pretty darn amazing, especially if you love Bitcoin. All right, so now we are totally in sync. We can see 100% here. Last block was found on the Bitcoin blockchain about 2 minutes ago. Here's our blockchain size, 743 gigabytes. This did take me about 2 days on my internet to fully sync the blockchain. So we're all good to go at this point. There's a couple more things I do want to do, like run my own mempool. You can run the entire system from your own node and PC, which is best for decentralization, especially if you love Bitcoin. And who doesn't love Bitcoin? So we're going to come back into Umbrella here, and I'm just going to search in Mempool. So there it is right here. I'm going to open that up, and here you can see all the features of the mempool here. Support for V3 transactions, anchor outputs, UTXO bubble chart on address page, all sorts of stuff here. So I'm just going to hit the install button, and now you can see it's going to ask for a few things. This is installed. It's going to need this installed as well. So we're going to install that. So we're going to come in, hit the install button on that. Our node is already installed. So now install here. So once this is done, we'll go back and install the mempool, and everything should be good to go. All right, so our Electrum server is all installed now. If we come into it, we can see it is syncing up. So while I wait for that, I'm just going to go back, and now I'm going to install that mempool, which I went back a little bit too far there, but that's all right here. So let's just go to mempool. Click that. Install. Yes, we have both things installed. Install mempool. So this is the final step. Once we get all this synced up and ready to go, I'm going to connect my miners to this and begin solo mining myself some Bitcoin on my own node. All right, so while I'm waiting for the mempool to install here, I'm going to begin connecting my solo miners to my node. And you can see the pool has been up the entire time for 2 days. But again, mining to this while your node is not in sync isn't going to do anything because you're not getting the latest work and data for the latest block. So here is the information you need to put into your miner. This would be your stratum right here. Then you're going to put in your Bitcoin wallet address followed by your worker name and then a password of X. If you don't know how to set up a Bitcoin miner, I got multiple videos depending what it is. Maybe it's a Canon A1566, maybe it's an S19 XP, maybe it is some other type of solo miner you're looking for. All sorts of different miners out there. I have various videos on that, and check them out to do this. So this point, this is your parameters that you're going to need to connect your miners to your very own pool node. All right, so I got my two little solo miners hooked up here. You can see the BitAxe one. This is the 601 there. And then I got my Lucky Miner LV8. So this is the latest Lucky Miner version. It's doing about 4.3 terahash. And our BitAxe is hanging out around 1.1 terahash. So my recording was kind of messing up. So you're going to notice my graphs and stuff are all over the place based on the next cut sequence because it was recorded before. But I had to put in my miner part here because, I don't know, my recording messed right up here. But all the information still applies. This is the best share difficulty I've found so far. And what we want to do here is obviously if you find a solution with a difficulty higher than the network difficulty, you found a block. So we need to find a share that is higher than the current network difficulty, which is currently sitting at 121.51 trillion. My best share so far is only 4.78 million. Obviously, we're nowhere near a Bitcoin block, but that's what we're looking for, a super high difficulty share that will claim that block. So coming in now, everything is mining to our own node at home. Awesome. Looking at the mempool now, this is the same thing you would see if you just Googled Bitcoin mempool or something like that. Exact same program and everything, except the only difference here is this is running off your own node. Everything is adding more decentralization to the entire Bitcoin network by utilizing your own node. So I can officially say this is my own mempool, not yours, no one else's. This is all mine. So if the entire world gets blown up and my node is still alive, everything is still going here. So we can also go into the pools here. We can see all the previous pools being found, everything that's going on the Bitcoin blockchain. And we're coming back into the node. We're just looking, looks like a minute ago, 2 blocks are found back to back. And if you ever want to connect your wallet directly to your node, instead of relying on remote connections and stuff, obviously you just click on connect here. And here's all the parameters to link your Bitcoin wallet to your own node so that you do everything through your own node, which is ultimately what we all should be doing. All right, guys, so that does wrap up this video. Let me know if it helped you out in setting up your own Bitcoin node from home and not having to spend thousands of dollars from something like FutureBit or something. So now if you do want some type of miner for solo mining to your node, check them links down in the description. They'll hook you up as well as discount codes to get a cheaper price. I'll see you on the next one. Rabid out.